Welcome back, everybody. It's another day of Nanyang Championship action, and it's another day on Dota 2 Reborn. What bugs will we uncover today? What strange new interactions? What strange lobby bugs? What issues with reconnecting to the game will we discover? Well, only time will tell. We've got FTD Club versus Newbee.Y here. In terms of the current standings, this is Group A. Newbee.Y are 1-0 and FTD Club are 1-1. Again, all of these teams are competing for a top 2 spot in their group to be able to advance through into the next round of qualifier play. So still a long road ahead of them if they want to make it to the LAN finals and compete against all of the other regions involved, but definitely looking to take this one step at a time. We're getting through the draft pretty quickly here, so let's very quickly run it through. We've got the Gyrocopter and the Bounty Hunter banned out by FTD. We've got Newbee.Y getting rid of Lesh and Storm. Again, nothing too shocking on the whole. Tusk does make it through, as does a Naga Siren, and so do a bunch of other great heroes besides, but it shouldn't be too shocking to see those bans coming out so far. Meanwhile, Earthshaker continues to be this very popular early pick, though it's actually the Shadow Fiend first pick from FTD, so it looks like they have at least a decent amount of confidence in that hero. But if you were watching yesterday's games, you would have seen pretty much this exact draft composition play out, and you would know that it didn't work out so fantastically for the Shadow Fiend, especially against the Queen of Pain Earthshaker. Queen of Pain by herself pretty much crushes Shadow Fiend in a straight up 1v1, but as soon as you throw Earthshaker rotations into the mix, it's pretty much guaranteed kills every single time. So FTD, a decent amount of confidence in this Shadow Fiend, and they're going to have to show us that they can deal with it even in the face of this Quap ES combo. Meanwhile, Winter Wyvern also just going to be grabbed up here by FTD. The Cold Embrace is not the best saving ability in the world so far this game, so we'll have to see what kind of cores Newbee.Y end up going for that might make it a little bit more attractive. In terms of your one position heroes, we've already got the Gyrocopter and the Phantom Lancer banned out, so we might see a little bit of variety this game perhaps, though there is still an anti-mage available in the pool. And Newbee.Y, I guess they have options in terms of potentially running the Quap on the safe lane if they so desire. But again, given how one-sided the Shadow Fiend versus Queen of Pain matchup is, I get the feeling we're probably just going to be seeing it mid. If you guys are hearing any rumbling or anything in the background, that is because there's actually a storm rolling into my area, so hopefully nothing knocks out my power or my internet and I'll be able to stream just fine. But if I happen to disappear off the air, that's what happens. So I'm just kind of monitoring it out my window at this very moment. So hopefully nothing too crazy happens. We've got a Clockwork being banned out here by Newbee.Y. Talked about it yesterday, but we'll just touch on it again here. Of course, they can run the Earthshaker both as an offlane and as a support. Earthshaker, of course, pretty susceptible to Clockwork in general, so I do like the ban. And regardless of whether or not it's an offlane Earthshaker or a support Earthshaker, I don't think you want to be playing up against the Clockwork. In particular, if you're a support Earthshaker, you really don't want to be playing against Clockwork because it's a hero that you can't put any pressure on whatsoever in the lane, and depending on what kind of carry they want to end up going for, that could prove a little bit troublesome. But well, Newbee.Y going to go for the 1-2 punch into the punch as they pick up the Tusk for themselves here, so really narrowing the offlane options that FTD really have available, especially with the Darkseer being banned out by them as well. So the what else do we still have in the pool? Spirit Breaker is alright, pretty good hero to have against the Queen of Pain in general, but Earthshaker is one of the better heroes to have against the Spirit Breaker, so Newbee.Y do have that going for them here. Spirit Breaker plus Lina, not the worst dual lane, so could put that together and look to apply some pressure down whatever Newbee.Y are going to have on their safe lane, since at this point they are pretty much guaranteed to have at least the one melee support down there, be it the Tusk or be it the Earthshaker. And I think probably a little bit more likely that you see the Earthshaker as that support, and the Tusk going to be that 3 position heading elsewhere. So both teams, quite a lot of focus on the lanes, which is not too unexpected in all honesty for this patch. Pretty laning focused in general, and especially that mid lane. Mid is just an absolute spam fest nightmare at the moment. And Newbee.Y still gonna keep their options open somewhat as they just continue to pile on the AoE teamfight here, grabbing themselves a disruptor. It is going to be the Spirit Breaker for FTD. I think it is going to be your 3 position Spirit Breaker, and he is going to need some farm and a decent start this game, because if he doesn't have a BKB or a Glimmer Cape or a, Shadow Blade, just something to make his initiation a little bit more reliable, he is not going to get anywhere close to Newbee.Y between the Glimpse and the Fissure. So, like I was saying, I think they've been forced into this pick a little bit, and it's still decent this game, just because you can put a lot of pressure on the Quap, but at the same time, finding any kind of teamfight initiation with the Spirit Breaker could be pretty tricky, and the teamfight power of Newbee.Y is just crazy. Again, Earthshaker, Disruptor, Tusk, Queen of Pain, lots of damage, lots of control, plenty of burst as well, especially if the Tusk or the Earthshaker is able to pick up a Blink Dagger. So that's something that FTD are going to have to be very wary of. And that's where the Winter Wyvern saves can come in a little bit. With the Cold Embrace, maybe picking up a Glimmer Cape. But we shall have to see.
10 seconds.
And Newbee.Y gonna have to lock in their carry before they necessarily see this last pick from FTD in terms of what's still available in the pool. What could we see here? If they want to take a very 5-many approach to this game, I was about to say they could pick Juggernaut, but they've actually banned the Juggernaut out themselves. So what would that suggest? So that would suggest that they're actually a little bit more worried about FTD being the more 5-man oriented lineup. I think the Jug is actually a pretty heads-up ban, being that FTD are over on the Dire side, and they don't have the best Roshan lineup in the world just yet. Of course, Shadow Fiend is decent with the presence of the Dark Lord, but they don't really have a dedicated Roshan hero to make that go very quickly in the earlier stages of the game. So Juggernaut could have been pretty decent for that, but it's going to be removed from the pool here, and I think the question now becomes how greedy are Newbee.Y going to be. Anti-Mage, of course, is still in the pool, but I think Anti-Mage is looking pretty weak for both sides here. You don't want to play the Anti-Mage against the Spirit Breaker, and I don't think you really want to be playing AM against the kind of lineup that Newbee.Y have either. So it's going to be a Templar Assassin actually is the last pickup for Newbee.Y. Looks like they are going to be maybe running that Queen of Pain as their safe lane farmer, and Templar Assassin probably heading towards mid to match up nicely against the switch the overlay. Match up nicely against the Shadow Fiend, and FTD.A finish things up with a Luna. So it is a pretty 5-man oriented approach from them, but with a slightly different twist. Are they level 1 Roshaning? They've got a Bastion on this Luna. They're smoked. This is some level 1 Roshan. Alright. Okay, they've got the Cold Embrace. They can heal the Spirit Breaker. He's got a poor man's shield. They've got the Lunar Blessing. It's pretty much always possible to level a Roshan with Lunar Blessing so long as you have the ability to tank it. And looks like Newbee.Y none the wiser just yet. Poking their head around the corner. They don't see anybody. Toggling aggro a little bit so that Spirit Breaker can use his salve. Will they figure this out in time? They're running over now. Luna plus Nature's Prophet was a classic for picking up these level 1 Roche attempts, but this is a slightly unexpected angle. If they walk close enough, they might catch the presence of the Dark Lord, but it might be a little bit too late. Rune's about to spawn, but Roshan dropping quickly. Aegis hits the deck, and that is going to be a level 2.5 and an Aegis start for the Shadow Fiend. Might even be able to get the Bounty Rune here as well. Yeah, they drive the Templar Assassin back. Surging out of the Roshan pit there, and that's almost an immediate level 3 for the SF. Oh my word. Okay, very sneaky FTD. Again, they're 1-1 at the moment, so they've only got this match and one more to play, and it's only the top 2 spots, so with the way that this group is shaping up, this could be a very decisive win here, and a very important one as well, given that Newbee.Y are currently on the top of the board, though they're only 1-0 at the moment. But alright, did they even get both bouncy runes? No. Okay, so TA did manage to scoot all the way up towards top rune and pick that one up, but well, Shadow Fiend starting out with level 3 is going to make this lane substantially easier for him, and he's got the Aegis, so he can actually kind of man up here somewhat. Offlane is actually just going to be the Earthshaker there by himself right now, but again, this lane is not looking all that promising for him. Can drop some Fishable. I don't know why the hero centering is so off, but yeah, could put some Fisher Blocks across the lane to pull things back and get some farm that way. Lucent Beam coming out. No cooldown on the Arctic Burn, so won't be able to find a kill there, but FTD doing a good job of keeping this top lane under control. Spirit Breaker, already level 3, going to be charging his way back down towards bottom lane. Tusk doing his best to just start running supples and start closing this experience gap, but the early game is not going to be looking good for Newbee.Y, at least for the first couple of minutes. I mean, FTD aren't going to be grouping up all that quickly. The timing is probably based around Shadow Fiend's mech, so Newbee do still have some time to build up the levels and kind of build up their defenses ready for those first few team fights, because they are still a very scary team fight lineup if they manage to get their spells down and not have anybody be bursted too quickly. And that's still where I think FTD are going to struggle a little bit, that they don't have the best initiation potential from their Spirit Breaker, but we'll see. If they can use this little bit of early momentum to start bringing down some towers, that should more or less secure his Glimmer slash BKB slash whatever initiation item, and from that point I think they've kind of solved the problem. So we'll see what ends up happening. And Disruptor looks like maybe looking at some stacks on the Ancients here just to help along the Templar Assassin. Earthshaker also in the neighborhood, not really accomplishing too much on top lane right now. Luna doing a really good job of just keeping this lane in position and static farming it away. 13 denies, 17 last hits. I don't think it's probably pretty close to perfect CS. I'm always pretty bad at working that out, but anyway, he may have missed one having to walk all the way from the Roshan pit to, or 1 or 2 walking all the way from the Roshan pit to top lane. Anyway, still far and away the lead farmer on the board right now. Queen of Pain doing surprisingly not all amazingly. Shadow Fiend gonna cop some damage here on mid, but it's just the Aegis, and he might even pick up a kill. One last auto attack from the ranged creep of all units is gonna find that one, and that's gonna redirect the Spirit Breaker charge over onto the Templar Assassin. Alright, so first kill picked up there by FTD. They've still got this. Oh, I think they killed Roshan like 10 seconds before the Horn, so there's still a little bit left on this Aegis for the Shadow Fiend. I don't know what they were thinking. I mean, even if they kill him there, the Aegis is about to expire in about a minute anyway, so not really the biggest advantage. Earthshaker picks up the double damage, but he's in some trouble. There's boots on both heroes, but actually Shadow Fiend is the slower of the two. Gets the one raise off, but would have needed a second to find that kill. Alright, so Earthshaker does manage to scurry away, but he's got pretty much nothing left in the tank. I don't think Luna's gonna slip up on controlling this lane, so I think it's just a bit of a waste of time if he wants to try and stick around to soak any experience. I think he's actually just worried about the fact that the Lina might be waiting, or the Lina or the Shadow Fiend might be waiting between the tier 1 and the tier 2 to try and kill him on the way back. But sees the Shadow Fiend in lane and just gonna saunter on back to base. Some pressure put down here on the Spirit Breaker. Do they have any points in Glimpse? They do not. They're going to block him in somewhat. Nice snowball to cancel out the charge. Spirit Breaker in some trouble, but he's still very tanky. Blink on cooldown for the Queen of Pain for a little while. And SP just going to say farewell and TP his way back to the fountain. Alright, so Spirit Breaker is already level 4, so he is well equipped to start running around and getting things done. Looks like Earthshaker is just completely given up on top lane for the time being, and he's just gonna attempt some ancient stacks and throw some fissures here on the mid lane. The Aegis has now faded, so could see an opportunity opening up for the Templar Assassin before too long. Does not have any side traps on the opposing hill just yet, so not a ton of kill potential on the Shadow Fiend just yet. And the Ancients have been blocked out as well by the Sentry Wards, so FTD kind of realizing what plays Newbee might look for to drag their way back into this game, because they are at a pretty substantial deficit. 2k net worth and almost 3k experience less than 6 minutes into this game. And the Templar Assassin is very unlikely to snowball without some help. So, the same can be said for the Queen of Pain. I think if Newbee fall too far behind, then their 2 cores just get bursted, no problem whatsoever, and I don't know where the Earthshaker is going to be able to scrounge together his blink if they aren't snowballing and picking up some towers and maintaining map control. So it could actually just be the story of level 1 Roshan just straight up wins this game, which I don't think Newbee would be all that impressed with. But it's in the game. You gotta check for it. You gotta watch out for these Luna lineups, even though we've been seeing a little bit more of her recently. What is going on here? Tusk just wandering around in the dire jungle all by himself. I think he was searching for some stacks, but Shadow Fiend's already come and gone and cleared those out, so he's gonna have his mech up in about 200 gold. And that might be where we start to see FTD making some more aggressive moves and looking to start bringing down some more towers. They have already managed to take out top. Was not denied nor last hit, so a little bit of gold disappearing into the ether there. Luna actually picking up the beginnings of a Dominator here. Really nice Splinter Blast is going to end up catching the Earthshaker. Slowed down a bit, but does get the block. Luna unable to round the corner. He's looking for the TP out. They need Vision and a Beam, but they're going to get both. Luna picks up that kill nice and easy. And Earthshaker, well, it's still struggle town for him. And Tusk is going to try for another stack, but he's not going to get it. Mech's already been delivered to the Shadow Fiend. Couple of traps being laid down on the mid lane, so SF going to have to be careful of that, but there should most of the time be TP support available from the Winter Wyverns. So even if Templar Assassin lands 2 side traps and manages to get some auto attacks down, I don't think the Shadow Fiend is likely to die, especially if he keeps enough mana up for the mech as well. So solo kill potential not really there. Shadow Fiend with a haste, feeling like the king of the world right now, just running around over in the Radiant jungle. Not really going to get anything done. I think he was just kind of hoping to look for some stacks or find a random pickoff, but will not be the case. Templar Assassin just coming over and we'll start clearing up these Ancients somewhat.
Radiant structures are fortified.
But still a ways off from being too much of a threat. Second Roshan's actually already respawned, so if FTD wanted to, I think they could quite easily go and pick that one up. Maybe not with all 5 of Newbee alive, but if they can draw them towards top lane or just get a pick off of a smoke, should be relatively straightforward. I think even if they are all alive, they might be able to do it. There's only level 3 on this Disruptor. Earthshaker is only level 4. Tusk is only level 3. So they've got a good AoE teamfight lineup just in terms of the heroes, but they don't really have the experience to back it up just yet. And while they have managed to change the trajectory of the graph somewhat after clearing up those Ancients, it's still looking pretty grim. Charge is coming in from the bottom lane, looking towards SCCC. There is help over on the hill. Earthshaker in position. The Templar Assassin might be in some trouble, caught with the refraction down for a couple of seconds. Another strike gets dropped. They come in looking for more damage with the kinetic field and the Fissure blocking them off. Queen of Pain blinked in too aggressively, however, and will be brought down by the Eclipse. FTD just going to turn their attention over towards the tower, and Spirit Breaker charged into the middle of everybody on Newbee.Y, but they just do not have anywhere close to the damage to deal with him. And what's he got? He's got a Medallion of Courage flying out right this second. And it looks like FTD.A are going to be going for that second Roshan here. Unfortunately, TA and Queen of Pain are just not equipped to fight. And that's a huge deal for Newbee to choose to bring all 5 heroes to defend that tower and then lose the fight. The most important decision when you're kind of a team fighting lineup when you find yourself in a bad position, when you find yourself behind, is what's that first fight do you take? Which fight do we go all in and try and hope that we can win the fight in and sort of turn the game? And they sort of did that there on mid. I don't know if it was necessarily an all-in from them, but losing that fight is 5 certainly does not bode well, and it looks like FTD are just gonna keep on a 5-manning. 2 Newbee cores do manage to pick themselves up a tier 1 tower on top, so some semblance of a trade coming out, but I don't think FTD are all that interested in stopping right now. In fact, might just keep on going. Aegis ready on the Shadow Fiend. They do have a couple of chores to tend to. Well, they've actually already dominated up a creep, and they're going to start stacking up some Ancients, so the rich get richer here. And Spiritbreaker comes charging in, being spotted out by an Observer Ward. I don't know if he saw the Earthshaker just because of day vision, or it's just going to end up canceling the charge. And looks like FTD are going to play it safe, come farm up their own jungle, and then maybe look for some further objectives. Luna has been somewhat greedy with the build, going for the Dominator, so it's still relatively squishy for the time being, but so long as the Shadow Fiend doesn't get bursted, should be able to lend a hand with the mech, and this should work out decently. And Luna actually picking up a Blade of Alacrity, so pretty greedy build on the whole, but it's probably just going to be, I would guess, Yasha into BKB, and that should still be alright timing-wise to have the BKB up before, you know, anything all too threatening comes out from Newbee.Y. Earthshaker's actually doing really well for himself, about 1,500 gold up right now, so it looks like they're prioritizing getting this blink as quickly as they possibly can, just to, again, try and take that one pivotal fight that they need to turn the game. And this may actually catch FTD a little bit by surprise. I think from their perspective, they're liable to think that Earthshaker's probably doing worse than he is right now. A couple of nice dire wards being placed down as well, just to keep tabs on what's going on in the Radiant jungle, since Newbee do have to farm pretty aggressively, I think, to sort of pull themselves back into this game. Gank being lined up on the Tusk bottom lane, but he will TP himself out. Kind of looked like Luna might have been close enough to get a beam, but I'm sure he was trying. Must have just been a little bit out of range. 3 members making their way down towards bottom. 2 people still sitting over towards mid. That's XTT on the Lina. Looks like he's going to be going for a Glimmer Cape here. Not a whole lot more item progression on the Spiritbreaker, but they haven't even really needed the initiation power of the Spiritbreaker. Their initiation has just been walking up to towers, kind of beating on their chests and saying, "Are you willing to take a fight?" The answer from Newbee has been pretty much no, up until this point in the game. Templar Assassin does almost have, well, does now have her Desolator online, though unfortunately she's not going to be able to snag an easy Roche and get that sort of, I would say, somewhat expected advantage from grabbing the Deso. 2-man smoke comes out. They're going to spot out the Earthshaker. Will they be able to burst in? This is a pretty big kill, in fact. Earthshaker survives a decent while. It's going to be a 1-for-1 as SCCC cleans up the Lina. Spiritbreaker was charging in the meantime, but thinks better of it, and it's just going to end up being the 1-for-1. And numerically, it is going to end up being a pretty big deal for Newbee. Though unfortunately, it's a setback there for the Earthshaker. And the tier 2 tower dies bottom lane. Last hit picked up there by the Shadow Fiend. So he's got a Yasha. Looks like he might be going for an S and Y. The Luna Yasha is pretty much complete as well. And as I say that, it's already on the courier. So another 1,000 gold towards the next item. And well, that's CCC still farming away. Actually, more farm than the Luna at the moment. So Experience is starting to tick up a little bit in the Radiant favor, though still not looking great. Do they have their level 6 in the Disruptor just yet? Not quite. Interestingly enough, he has 2 points in Thunderstrike, which strikes me as a bit odd. It seems like more of a kinetic field game to me, but it may have been a point skilled at an important moment. I don't know what Tusk was hoping for there. They go jumping in to Luna. Now they're looking for the Queen of Pain. Can they chain stun her? No, won't be able to, but the Arctic Burn and the Orb of Venom still ticking down little by little. Shadow Fiend's going to come out of the tree line and just charge forward. Speaking of charge, one more out of the SB, but looks like he's going to think better of it, and they're just going to start working away on this tier 2. Triple C does manage to pick up a tier 1 tower mid in the meantime, so keeping his team in this somewhat, and double Blink Dagger picked up between the Earthshaker and the Templar Assassin. This is probably the biggest power spike that we're going to be seeing out of Newbee for a little while. Next big item, of course, is going to be that Aghanim Scepter coming out of the Queen of Pain. She's also got level 11, so that's 3 big benefits. That's 3 big improvements to the Newbee team fight. That and the fact that they've just picked up the Static Storm in this Disruptor, so if they manage to find FTD without an Aegis in their inventories, which they very well might, since Aegis is down right now. I don't know when Roshan's respawning because the clock is still totally bust, at least for me, so we'll just have to keep an eye out for the digital pop-up here. But what else is going on? Luna yet to actually have that Yasha delivered. It's right there on the courier. This is just a little bit distracted right now. Meanwhile, Templar Assassin hoping to find this kill on the Spirit Breaker, but we'll only find the one auto attack. Spirit Breaker could actually be a huge nuisance for the TA this game. He's not all that important, and if he, in a fight, just latches onto the Templar Assassin with charge and Nether Strike and maybe 1 or 2 bashes, then he totally destroys her damage potential. And if you're not jumping in and successfully bursting somebody as TA with this kind of a build, then you are definitely in a bad way. 3-man smoke coming out of Newbee, I think somewhat trying to make use of this unrevealed Earthshaker Blink Dagger. There's only 4 heroes on the top side. There's a charge coming in. It's a 5-man rotation from FTD, and it's going to go over the top of the ES. Have they spotted his items here? The Static Storm gets dropped down. Shadow Fiend comes charging in. Does not have his BKB components, but they've cleaned up the Tusk immediately and continue to fight nicely as a group. They've got the Eclipse coming out, looking for the Earthshaker. Will he be able to blink? 2, 1, gets it off down into the corner and is going to be able to TP away, but the surprise factor of the blink totally removed. And Newbee.Y, even with a smoke committed, won't be able to find the tower. Won't even be able to find a single kill. 7-1. The kill score at the moment is looking pretty sad, in all honesty. They managed to get the tier 2 tower pretty low, so I should be able to go back and grab that at some point, but I guess the next Roshan is maybe the big target. It's a decent place for them to fight. It's actually a really good place for them to fight if they can get some vision going on, scout things out with the sigil, let Earthshaker drop a slam, hopefully get a sonic wave on everybody. Might be their best opportunity though. BKBs are coming out right now for the Luna and the Shadow Fiend, so that's going to make the task even more difficult. And FTD looks like they're pretty keen to keep control over the Roshan pit in these next couple of minutes as well, though. It looks like it's still going to be about a minute until he pops back up. So they've seen them moving through into their jungle, so they're going to take this opportunity to get mid lane and top lane out as far as they possibly can, start playing the lane control game in anticipation of this Roshan popping back up. I hope that somebody is already carrying a smoke. Yep, Tusk already has that smoke picked up. Though Luna is going to look to cement this map control advantage even further as XCT grabs the gem. So there should not be any vision available for Newbee around the Roshan pit once it pops up. There is a trap inside of the pit right now, so Newbee will know when Roshan respawns, but that should also be dealt with pretty quickly. And yeah, the gem is now over on Luna. Okay, Shadow Fiend comes up top, looks for the deny, is going to be able to grab it. Rest of his team is not too far behind, but Spirit Breaker's locked eyes on the Templar Assassin. Nice Fisher. Keeps the Spirit Breaker at bay, but I think the TATP out was fine anyway. And the question now becomes, can Newbee stop FTD from grabbing Roshan? Looks like Queen of Pain's considering sticking around a little bit longer on top lane just to split push this out, maybe one more wave to try and provide some kind of a deterrent, but she's not really threatening 2-3 at this stage, and uses the Sonic Wave to push there. That's, I think that's a very, very easy go if you're FTD. You know that the Sonic Wave, it's a low cooldown, but it's still 40 seconds, and, well, you definitely need less than 40 seconds to kill Roshan with this kind of a lineup. And Newbee. It's a 4-hero smoke, but the Queen of Pain's lagging behind. Are they still going to try for this? Winter Wyvern ready to scout things out. XCT as well, just glimmering. But it is going to be Aegis and Cheese now in the hands of FTD. And I don't know what Newbee can do at this point. Quap just clearing out a bit of a stack here, dropping dangerously low, but picks up a nice chunk of change. I don't know what she's actually going to be able to buy here. 2k gold. I don't know if there's really anything that you can grab that's gonna immediately change the outcome of this upcoming fight. So they probably sack the tier 2. It's their last tier 2 on the map right now, and then hope that they can find some kind of smoke initiation, maybe from the back. I don't think that they can go on the Shadow Fiends and the Luna right now. It's just double BKB, Aegis, Cheese, Winter Wyvern, and Lina both sitting behind with Glimmer Cape. So even if you get the perfect jump in initiation with the Earthshaker and get the chain stun on both of them, there is no guarantee that you kill either of them with the Glimmer Capes. So what can they really do? Top lane's in a good position, bottom lane's in a good position, so I do have to commend Newbee on their lane control in the midst of all of this, but they've come walking outside of the base, and now Tusk is in trouble, gets charged up. Glimpse is going to send back the Shadow Fiend, but he's going to be just fine. Top lane looks like it is going to be a concern somewhat for FTD. I don't quite know why. It looks like they're just going to send the Spirit Breaker back, and he's going to be ready to charge in and keep going on mid, so not a big deal. SB does actually almost have his BKB if they give him another minute to farm, so looks like that's probably what they're aiming for here. Just get the Spirit Breaker BKB up, give them that guaranteed initiation up the hill into the base, and look to clean up this lane of Rax here. We're at about a 14k net worth lead at this stage in FTD's favor, and well, it's been a somewhat bumpy ride, as Newbee have found a couple of objectives here and there, but we're now down to 10k experience lead in FTD's favor as well. What other items have we had picked up? So again, Spirit Breaker's working on BKB. Shadow Fiend's got 4k gold right now, so if he wants to pick up a Scotty pretty soon, Butterfly could still be alright, but you're only really worried about the Templar Assassin right clicks, so that's maybe not the biggest deal in the world. XTT, 1k gold, can probably go for a Blink Dagger or Force Staff next. Winter Wyvern, probably the same kind of story, but it does look like that they've been doing the majority of the supporting up until this point. And Luna looks like actually just picked up an item, probably Manta Style being delivered. Yeah, Manta Style on the courier, ready to go. FTD actually just going to approach this from bottom lane. It's taken a tiny bit of damage, but I get the feeling this is more about the angle for them than anything. If they push mid, they're somewhat more vulnerable from this wraparound via the high ground to catch them out, but it's quite a bit less likely that Newbee can get any kind of a wraparound gank down here on the bottom lane. And Sonic Wave cleans up the creep wave. They're doing some good damage to the SF, but they get the stun. The Winter Scourge onto the Templar Assassin. Out comes the Eclipse as well. Echo Slam jumped in by the Earthshaker, but everyone's still just so damn tanky. Double kill so far. Shadow Fiend still standing his ground and right-clicking away. The Aegis is going to be popped, but not before 4 heroes from Newbee hit the deck. Sonic Wave only for creeps there, and FTD still looking very healthy as they start working away in the melee barracks. Position 1 and Position 2 both alive for Newbee right now, but nothing that SCCC can do to get into this fight. Even just gonna deny the building there out of frustration, knowing that he can't really go in and get anything done. The BKBs are now on cooldown from FTD, but Newbee are pretty low on cooldowns themselves, and that's gonna be bottom racks down, mid racks coming up next. Nice Fisher catches that onto 4 on the Sonic Wave. Great as well. Can they actually find any kills? The Glimmer Capes are keeping people alive. It's a double kill for the Shadow Fiend, hardly a scratch on him. And Mech cooling down right now. Team's going to be topped back off. It looked like everyone dropped so low, but Stick Charges came out, Glimmer Capes came out, Cold Embrace, and that is going to be that. FTD taking this game in convincing fashion following a level 1 Roshan. And that is going to be their second win here in Group A of the NYChampionships China qualifiers. So that's going to wrap it up for our first game, guys. There's 2 more best of 1s coming up later, which on this stream, that's going to be CDEC Young versus HGT, and CDEC Young versus Newbee Young. So, but that won't be starting for another 2 hours and 20 minutes. So, pretty long break. The stream will likely be down in the meantime. Thank you all for watching. If you have any feedback, you can email me at basecapeDota@gmail.com. Otherwise, I'll catch you for the games later.